to be grounded everywhere is part of the way of the nomad. I aspire to that. That sense of home, of comfort. Everywhere I go. That is to know thyself. To have your feet planted into the ground so that your head can be high up in the sky. This looks like the Garden of Eden. The tree of knowledge. I love that story. This idea of our roots being in this garden where we were free in our prison because we didn't know we were imprisoned. Until that fateful day when oh wow, these orchids are beautiful. This one's rotten though. So we couldn't pick from the tree of knowledge. We were free before we had knowledge. But then when the knowledge came, when we understood our place in the world, that we were conscious, that we gained consciousness, it came with responsibilities. We suddenly were forced to leave our prison yet somehow that's the moment when when we lost our freedom because we gained choice. We gained with consciousness the idea that there was a right and a wrong. Now, nature doesn't have that. There's no right or wrong here. That's why nature is violent like that. You know, everything's eating itself. It's harsh out there. But I think that when we were in this metaphorical Garden of Eden, before we had a sense of consciousness, yeah, life must have been difficult in a way. We weren't unaware that it was, but it must have been. This is Calabria. More specifically, the small town of Bombile. This is the place where my father's family comes from. Oh my. So my father's father and his mother, they were born here. My father was born here. He was baptized at a chapel no far from here. I don't come back here often, but my roots are here. I brought my girls here as well. Forgive me. Because I wanted them to have that same sense of belonging. This idea that they were privileged to know their lineage, to know their roots, to be in touch with them. I just swallowed a fly. Actually spit it out, but it went right into my mouth. What does that mean? Perhaps it means I should be quiet and enjoy this orange. Not everyone knows where they come from. So I try to really appreciate that I know my roots. I want to share that. When I was a child, my grandmother told me of this place. Back in Canada, she would pray to this Madonna, this statue that's here, and she created this myth for us. So I always imagined, even as a child, before I had children, that someday I would bring my own kids here. Now that I have, I feel that time is frozen. That nothing has changed since I was last here 15 years ago, 15 years before that. It all remains the same. It all changes with the seasons. There's less people here than there used to be, which is rare. But now that I've shared that story, that dream, with my own kids, I feel that it's forever. That these roots are forever. That perhaps someday they too will bring their children, and their children will bring their children here. We might even live here again someday, the roadies. Wouldn't that be grand? Wouldn't that be the ultimate kind of life? It would close a loop. It would make life eternal. The deeper the roots, the higher the branches can reach.